What's good, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. I'm back with another reaction, this time to Blackkklansman. So let's talk about it. As I mentioned in some of my previous reactions, I am currently going through all the best picture nominees for the upcoming Oscars and going through and watching all the movies that I have not seen yet, which is pretty much most of them except for Black Panther. So I just got around to finally watching Blackkklansman, and let's get into it. Now, I have not read the book, or I was not entirely familiar with this story beforehand before seeing the trailer and hearing about it. But the story is so kind of unbelievable that it kind of has to be true. Like, the truth is stranger than fiction type of situation here, where, you get a black detective in Colorado Springs, where I spent 4 of my years, in fact, joining the police force there and infiltrating the KKK chapter there, and in fact, duping David Duke, who is the famed leader of the organization, I guess, however you want to call it. And like I said, it's a situation where truth is kind of stranger than fiction. Like, if somebody were to tell me this story and kind of pitch it to me, I would think that it was a bit wacky in general and comical, just the whole concept of it. And, Spike Lee kind of plays into that concept of it being kind of a wacky story and wacky tale, where it isn't like a straight up drama, or it's more of like a dramedy where there is conflict and there are serious consequences and there's a serious tale and serious topics being discussed, but it is done and played for laughs at appropriate moments. Like, the lead character, who is played by Denzel Washington's son, is a very charismatic person, and while it is such a serious and dangerous situation and that he is kind of going into, and there are a lot of serious topics being discussed about race and everything and hate, he does keep a fairly, lighthearted mood and approach to it all. And and it really conveys to the audience in general, where I felt like, I know this is such a serious topic, and I know this is such a serious situation, but it kind of gives you that nonchalant, everything's going to turn out fine, everything's going to turn out well, and you kind of just laugh at the so-called criminals and villains of the movie, who are the KKK, more than actually fear them. Because Spike Lee portrays them as basically bumbling fucking idiots. And I cannot, speak to the KKK members' real-life counterparts and the story and the real-life story of how everything's went. But here they are completely fucking inept, and they are played for laughs more than anything. And I'm not necessarily sure if that is the best way to go about, portraying such a serious topic, that they are played for laughs. But I am kind of glad they did, because we have so many movies that deal with race, particularly during that time period, that it can be a bit overbearing and too much at times. So it is kind of refreshing to feel a movie kind of taking this, taking a dig at it, and not a malicious way, but kind of like a more fun and lighthearted approach than we're used to seeing. But that's not to say that there aren't moments of true conflict and true peril, and when those moments do come about, particularly with the woman that the lead is involved with, that you do feel that tension still when it does come about. So I think it does a good job of balancing, the more intense seriousness of the topic and everything else going on, while kind of just the wacky story of it all together, and making it, an enjoyable film that doesn't feel like you're being lectured to, but it doesn't feel like it's shitting on, the real life seriousness of everything that's going on. And I think that's always been a quality of Spike Lee to his movies, like Do the Right Thing, where they talk about race and they talk about all these serious situations, but then it is still real life, where it isn't always so serious, and people aren't always, just locked in their serious mode, and people can take a more lighthearted approach to serious situations and whatnot. So I think he continues that here, and this is probably one of his better movies in quite a long time. Now, there is the lead, but then the lead is really two characters, and the other side of that would be, I think, Adam Driver, and he does a fairly good job with what he's given here. I don't think he is really fleshed out too much compared to some of the other characters, but when he is on screen, he does do a pretty good job of what he is given, but he definitely takes a backseat to most of everybody else. And in just the same way that the KKK members were taken as kind of like a joke, David Duke himself, played by Topher Grace from that 70s show, is also played in that same way, but probably to the umpteenth degree, because he just looks like a fucking complete idiot for being fooled this entire time, like the way he was. And I think that's kind of, in this situation, in that particular situation, I think that was the right way to go about things, because the story is about how, this so-called leader got fooled by, the very race that he is fighting so hard against and stands so hard against, So in this particular situation, I think it was played the right way. And again, I don't know David Duke. I don't know his personality. It's not like I really go check out videos or who or what he is all about. But the character in the movie that Topher Grace plays, he plays it pretty well. In fact, all the roles here were done fairly well for the most part. And I think they really do a good job of bringing real life to this world and time period that they're set in. And it's not a Spike Lee movie without him going full on Spike Lee. And best believe, if I didn't know Spike Lee directed this movie, watching it for most of it, I for sure knew Spike Lee directed it, especially the last 10, 15 minutes of it, because he pulls things straight out of his tried and true handbook. Instead of the movie, being the allegory for a lot of the societal sentiment and feelings going on today, he turns it into a straight up soapbox where he talks very directly about the election, Trump, and everything else that is going on today in Charlotte in particular. And he even straight up pulls the camera trick he used in Inside Man, where they're moving, but they're not necessarily walking, and it's kind of focused on Denzel Washington, but he does it with his son, which is actually kind of now that I think about it, it is kind of a dope loop of things where, he uses it with his father, and now he's using it with the son in the movie. But however you feel about Spike Lee is however you're going to feel about it, and, some of the way he portrays certain things. While I don't necessarily think the ending part was necessarily necessary, it really wouldn't be a Spike Lee movie without it. Now, the question is, do I think this deserves to be a Best Picture nominee? I'm not, in most years, I would probably say no. But in 2018, with, I think, not necessarily the strongest field of movies to come out in recent years, there aren't too many that really struck out as me as leading the way in terms of movies and Best Pictures. I can definitely see this one getting nominated for obviously multiple reasons. But I can definitely see, and I'm very happy about Spike Lee getting his first directorial nomination. And I think it's well deserved, because I think this was a very well directed movie. It was fun, it was serious, and I think he did a good job of balancing everything. I think the pacing was extremely well done. And he always has a great way of really bringing characters to life. And he did it again here. So I definitely am happy that he got that nomination. But all in all, it was a much more enjoyable movie than I kind of expected it to be. And it is not, played for laughs just to be played for laughs. And it's not overly serious, but it is a great balance between the two. And I think this is Spike Lee probably at his finest in quite a long time. But for those of you that have seen Blackkklansman, what do you guys think about it? Do you think it is deserving of a Best Picture nomination? Do you think Spike Lee is deserving of a Best Director nomination? How do you think this stacks up to some of his past movies, particularly in recent time? Let me know in the comments down below, and head over to the official site where you can leave your own ratings and reactions for this movie, other movies, and everything else I react to over there on the site. If you have anything that you'd personally like me to react to, you can also let me know in the comments down below. If you like any of the gear that I rock in these videos, like this or this, you can also have the site and grab some for yourself. As always, thank you guys for joining me. If you're liking these videos, please smash that like and subscribe button for me. I will be back shortly with more reactions. But until then, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.